I guess we can go ahead and get started. I want to be respectful of everyone's time. We have about 12 people, and I know many more will be joining us as the morning goes on. I want to thank you all for coming to our Dementia Alliance of North Carolina's May series, Ask the Experts. We are thrilled to have Jennifer Tyner with Aging Outreach Services and Jennifer Garner with Garner Law as our experts this month, and they're doing an amazing job. We've had two very educational sessions last week, and we're looking forward to today and to Thursday as well. For those of you who are unfamiliar with Dementia Alliance, we are a 501c3 nonprofit that covers the state of North Carolina. And our mission is simply to help everyone affected by dementia, whether they're living with dementia, they're a caregiver, a friend, a family member, whoever they are. And we're built on a platform of care, which is comfort, assistance, resources, and education. And today we're covering resources and education, also hoping to provide you some care and assistance as well. A couple of housekeeping things. Wanted to make sure that you do ask us questions. So please go ahead and find your chat and feel free to ask questions. Susan McKenzie, who is my partner in crime here this morning with Aging Outreach Services, will help me moderate, and we will share your questions with Jennifer Tyner, our speaker. So Susan, welcome. Thank you for partnering with us. Why don't you tell us a little bit about Aging Outreach Services?
Thanks, Lisa. Aging Outreach Services is so excited to always partner with Dementia Alliance and with Jennifer Garner on this great series. And my thanks to both of our Jennifers for doing such an incredible job of reminding us of the information we need to keep present in our minds. Aging Outreach Services is an elder care firm, and we can help you navigate all things that have to do with aging. So type in your questions and we will be happy to answer them, either Jennifer as she talks today or to follow up with you personally. So thank you all for being here.
Thanks, Susan. And Jennifer, I'm going to let you introduce yourself.
Okay.
And we'll just jump right in. And we do encourage people to ask those questions. Susan and I are going to stop our video and mute ourselves. And Jennifer, it's all yours. Take it away.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Jennifer Tyner. I am the lead care manager here at Aging Outreach Services. I've been here, July will be 18 years. So hopefully I can help you guys promote your own successful aging, because that's sort of what our tagline is. We're the experts in aging well. So we want everybody here to learn all they can and have the resources that they need in order to have a successful plan in place. If you were on last week, you'll remember that I said, well, like quotes and acronyms. And one of my favorite acronyms is KEY, and it stands for knowledge empowers you. I think that's really important to remember here today, but it's also important to remember that you can have knowledge and not know how to use it. So I want to teach you guys today how to be relentlessly resourceful with the resources that I'm going to provide for you guys today. And hopefully in the future, if you need help and have questions, you'll know where to reach out and who can help you move on with that successful plan that you're trying to create right now. So you guys, this is the same thing as last week, but I want to make sure that you guys know that I'm going to consider what you need. I'm going to teach you what you need to consider for that path to successful and meaningful aging. So I think it's important to start planning now as younger adults and continuing that plan as we age. So we're going to talk about your emotional, physical, financial needs and understand the resources that are available and help you come up with that plan. How do you find available resources? That is a very challenging question because there are so many resources that are available, and it can be quite overwhelming to the older adult who's trying to come up with a plan. You want to figure out who you should call and what websites you should use. Who do you ask questions to? Your primary care doctor is always a good place to start. somebody like myself and as a care manager in Aging Life Care. There are state and local government agencies that you can contact. And then of course you can talk to your colleagues, your friends, your family, and other people to find out ask questions to those people. Lisa mentioned early on in the program that we have people from out of state here. So I want to make sure that you guys are aware that Aging Outreach Services is part of a national organization. So you can go to the website for Aging Life Care and search, and I'll review how to do that soon, but just make sure that you're aware that there are care managers across the nation that can help you. So not just here, we service Moore County and the surrounding counties to include Wake County, but we have colleagues who work all over the state and all over the country. So keep that in mind as we're going through this program. Your primary care physician can help get you those referrals that you need to specialists and to other services that may be available. They can talk to you about agencies and facilities that are in the community. They may tend to have a specific place that they would refer you to, and they can be kind of closed-minded to the options that are available to you. So I know a lot of doctors will say, here's a agency and here's a facility, but they may not have a whole wide range. And some of them do. Some of them will give you a list of options that are available. If you trust your doctor's judgment with your health, do you trust them with their decisions in helping you age? So most of the times the answer to that is yes. The doctor knows a lot of information that can help you age successfully. The care manager, again, the experts in all things aging. We can answer your questions, provide recommendations of different resources that are available in our area. Again, no matter where that area is, we often are asked, okay, we can tell you about the services that we can provide, but can you tell us about services that are available that you don't provide? And the answer to that is absolutely yes. That's one of the things I feel like we do really well at, is we make sure that you guys are aware of services that are available in our area, that not only that we can provide, but other services that you may not be aware of, to help make sure that you're getting everything that you need. And the last piece here says that we're trained to be your advocate. So we want to, first of all, establish what your plan is, what you want, what your needs are, because everybody's needs are different, and then help be your advocate. State and local government agencies, they have information on some of the following things, such as agencies that might be able to help, your Social Security information, Medicaid and Medicare and what they might cover, and then grants and financial assistance programs that are available to you, especially those who need assistance financially. This is a really good place to start and reach out. Here in Moore County, we have the Senior Enrichment Program, and we can always count on them to have some information about options that are available to us. And every area has some kind of area council on aging, an aging department, something like in those regards that you can reach out to for free resources that are available in your area. I love getting referrals from my friends and colleagues because I trust word of mouth referrals, people that have actually worked with agencies or been in facilities or had loved ones there. What are their opinions? What are their thoughts on it? I trust, my colleagues and friends, and I love that they have that firsthand experience utilizing whatever that resource is that we might be recommending or looking for in regards to that. There are so many websites that you can use, but I would always recommend that you start with Aging Life Care, the Dementia Alliance, because most of the people that are here because they have a loved one who's suffering from dementia. The Dementia Alliance and their website is phenomenal for resources. And then again, your local government social services to help with those people who have limited resources and monies. On the Aging Life Care website, it provides information on events what exactly an aging life care manager is and who all the different members are. And you can find the care managers in your area. Here's a little screenshot of what it looks like when you're on the page and how to find a care manager, so you can change the distance, exactly what you're looking for. You can put in your city, your state, and have in there and push search, and it'll help you find the closest care managers to you. Dementia Alliance, this is their dementianc.org is their website, provides information for education, family services and support, community outreach, and research, like Lisa was mentioning earlier today. The local social service agencies, they can connect you with different care managers in your area, often have information about different assistance programs, whether it's Meals on Wheels, food banks, grants, that type of thing. They can help you locate those types of things. They can also get you in touch with adult protective services should that be necessary, and that often is, and we'll get more into that later in this program. And just keep in mind that each county operates differently, but it's a good starting point for everybody that's looking for help. You can contact your local social service agencies. What resources should I look for? There are so many that I'm getting ready to go over with you right now, and a lot of them are not on these slides, but I'm going to make sure that they get added for you guys when we share that with you later. But one of the things that we give out to all of our clients is a life planning guide. I'm going to hold it up so you can kind of see what it is. It's like a booklet, and it's sort of something that you can put all of your information in one spot. So your personal information, your medical information, your health information, who you want acting on your behalf, who do you want to work with, where your assets are, your account information, important documents, online things. It gives you a place to put like what you want done at the end of your life, what memories you want shared, who your contacts are, and it's all here in this one very handy little book. We're happy to share this with anybody. If you want to write in your chat now that you'd like a copy, Susan can make sure that everybody gets one, but it's called our Life Planning Guide. So that's one of the main resources. We also have a doctor's appointment planning book here, and there's a screenshot of it on the side, and it just it's a place where you can document everything that happens at the doctor. I don't know if you can see this well enough, but it has a place for you to put the date of your appointment, who you saw, what your vitals were, any questions that you have for the doctor, their feedback, any new medicines that they started, any discontinued medications, any new diagnoses, and then your next appointment. So I feel like a lot of times people with dementia, especially those that are trying to continue to be as independent as possible, need things like these two documents that I just showed you in order to stay organized and focused on what their goals are and remember what those changes and information that they were given at the doctor's appointments. So I think it's really important for everybody that has dementia to have one of these doctor's appointment planner books. Again, you can put in the chat that you'd like one, and we'll make sure that you get a copy of that. 5 Wishes, it's another great little booklet that we recommend a lot to people. 42 out of 50 states will use this document, including North Carolina. This is what that looks like, 5 Wishes. In this, it's sort of like it's sort of a comprehensive living will. It's what you want at the end of your life, down to how you want to be comfortable, what's comfortable to you. I always like to tell a story about talking to my parents about end of life and what they want, you know, and they could not be any more different. My dad's 6'6", 400 pounds. He's a bear of a man, and his resolution is take me outside and shoot me. I don't want to be old. I don't want you to have to take care of me. Where my mom is like, be sure you tweeze all my whiskers and play Lionel Richie and massage my feet. So they their wishes are so different. So we have two of these, you know, at their house with all of their wishes. And don't worry, I'm not going to take my dad out back and shooting, but that is, you know, it gives us an opportunity to have those tough conversations and to start those conversations. So this document is called 5 Wishes. You can actually have this document notarized and you can use it, and it becomes a legal document at that point. So it's a really great document to have. Continuum of Care and Resources. Some counties have these resource guides and we have one. We need to update ours, and once we get that updated, we'll share it. But our county keeps one. It will have a list of all of the independent living, continuum of care facilities, assisted living, skilled nursing, memory care units, rehab, home health, hospice, medical supply, pharmacies, transportation. All of the local ones will be listed in that. So if you're not from here in Moore County, then I recommend that you reach out to your area council on aging and see if they offer one, because most of the local governments should have a list of those resources for you in one easy document. File for Life is another thing that we always recommend for our clients. This is a document that it has a magnet on the back. You put it on your refrigerator. It has a piece of paper. I'll drop the sticker. It has a piece of paper where you put in your medical information, your contact information, your medical diagnoses, your meds, your allergies. When EMS comes to your house, they are trained to look for this document. At least here in North Carolina, they are. Your state might have a different document, but it's called File for Life. And again, it just goes right on your refrigerator. So those people who are the well spouse caring for somebody with dementia, if something were to happen to you, your loved one may not be able to provide accurate information on your behalf. So you would want to have this filled out with all of your medical information so that when EMS arrives at your home, they can access this quickly. The other program that I have here with me to show you guys is called the Yellow Dot, and it's very similar to the File for Life program. However, this one you keep in your car. So this program here is the same. You put this in your glove box. It has a piece of paper inside that gives you an opportunity to put all of your information. It even has a place here in the back for you to add a picture of yourself. You can imagine how scary it would be to be in a car accident with somebody with dementia and the well spouse can't advocate for them. The hospital doesn't know what their baseline is. The EMTs don't know what's going on. They don't know what their allergies are, but they, again, comes with this little yellow sticker that you put on the back of your car, and EMTs and police and fire are trained to look for this on the car, and they will know if they see this that you have this in your glove box with lots of important information on it. So the Yellow Dot is another really great program that we always recommend for our clients. Before I go on to some of the things that are not in these slides, do you guys have questions for me?
We don't have any right now, Jennifer. Keep
Okay.
going, and we'll keep collecting them though.
Okay, great. So I'm going to talk about some things now that aren't necessarily here in your slides, but again, we'll make sure they get in your slides before we provide those to you for the final delivery of that and the video. But I want to talk about some of the things that come up with people who have dementia and loved ones that are trying to take care of people who have dementia. One of the things that we hear a lot about is nutrition and concerns about meals and how their loved ones are going to eat. You know, they can no longer cook. They may be on a special diet. So we want to make sure that you guys are aware that there are nutritionists or dietitians in the area that can help create a plan for what meals would be good for somebody that has dementia and take into account their other health issues. There are programs such as Meals on Wheels that may offer you guys the opportunity to have meals delivered to your home. Our local Meals on Wheels will deliver one meal 5 days a week. And that's always extremely helpful to those people that have financial restraints. A lot of times your senior centers will have a place where you can go and get a hot meal. So it might be some kind of lunch bunch or something like that, where you actually have free transportation to a facility to be able to eat with other people. There's Uber Eats and DoorDash and all kinds of things that you can hire for somebody to actually deliver meals to your home. And then keep in mind that there are options such as caregivers who could come into your house and prepare meals for your family that are well balanced and making sure that they're eating the way that they should. One of the things that we often run across as care managers is, mom's at home, she lives there alone, she's still cooking, but I'm not sure what she's eating and why, how old is the food, that kind of thing. So one of the things that I do for my clients on a regular basis is I actually check their refrigerator to make, check for expired condiments or old food, things that should have been thrown out. And then actually create a menu plan for them to help them remember what they should be cooking from day to day to help make sure that they're getting that well-balanced meal in the home. So I wanted to touch on nutrition and how important that is for older adults. There is a program called PACE, and it's the program for all-inclusive care for the elderly. And again, that's PACE, P-A-C-E. That is a Medicare funded program that will really allow older adults to get almost anything they need through Medicare. You have to be 55 and older, you have to have Medicare, you have to live in the zip code where that program is offered, and there is a qualifier. You have to be living in your home, but have a skilled need that could warrant you being in a nursing home. If you qualify for PACE, they will offer transportation, they will offer medication, they will offer home care, doctors, and everything under the sun. I could do an entire program just on PACE. It's extremely comprehensive, but it's important that you guys know about that program because a lot of people are not aware that is such a great resource when it comes to people who have Medicare. We talk about therapies a lot when you're at home and people who have dementia. We want to make sure that people are aware that there are therapists. You can get your therapies in a facility. You can get your therapies, what they call, if you're homebound, the therapist can come to your house and provide those services. You can do a walk-in clinic where you drive and do your therapy there and then go back home. And there are private duty therapists. I think the most important thing to remember is that when your loved one is working with physical therapy, occupational therapy, or speech therapy, that you're continuing those exercises on the days that they're not there. We often say, if the therapist can teach our caregiver how to do those exercises, then we will make sure that those exercises are completed and documented in the home. We often put together an exercise log for them to actually document and prove that those exercises were done. It's just really important. People with dementia will often be discharged from therapies too soon because they are not comprehending or making progress in their therapy sessions. But we see frequently that those people that are frequently doing those exercises at home, that they will be able to continue to get those services through Medicare for a longer period of time because they're making more progress. The veterans, so almost every county has a local veterans group. There are lots of benefits that we talked about that last week some, but I want to remind you guys of that if you served during wartime, and even if you didn't, you might qualify for some benefits, but we want to make sure that you're reaching out to your local VA. That we have the Moore County Veterans Affairs Office in Carthage. But every county or most counties should have a local office. So be sure that you're reaching out if you are a veteran and you would like to know if you qualify for some extra assistance. You want to make sure that you're reaching out to them. We talk about aging in place, and one of the things that we always recommend is that you have somebody evaluate your home to make sure that that home is safe for you to remain in that home. And we talk about home modifications a lot. So there are companies and programs that will allow you to make adjustments to your home so that you can stay in your home for the rest of your life. So there are programs that will help you get a ramp. There are programs that will help you get grab bars in the bathroom, widen your doorways. And there are companies that will come out and do that for a fee for service as well, but there are also programs that we can help you locate to make sure that you're getting all the resources that are available to you so that you can make those modifications. One of the things that comes up a lot for us is insurance questions. We have, there is a program called Seniors Health Insurance Information Program. The acronym for that is SHIP, SHIIP, and it is a local not-for-profit, no fee service expert. Usually it's an older volunteer that helps you make sure that you have the right insurance and that you're getting all the benefits that you are that you should be getting with that insurance program. But again, we want to make sure that everybody is aware that there are experts in that specifically talk about insurance and that can help make sure that you're getting what you need from those programs. That leads me to the pharmaceutical piece, because we get that question a lot. You know, I need to be taking Xarelto, but I can't afford Xarelto. What do I do? My loved one has dementia, and you know, the cost of Aricept is more than I can afford. What do I do? There are lots of programs that offer pharmaceutical assistance. The United Way, the rxassistant.org, Medicare.org, and every company that every pharmaceutical company has a place where you can go and apply for a discount or a free, you might qualify for free medications. But we help clients frequently walk through and make sure that they are getting the meds that they are paying for, or what they should be paying for, and at a good cost. So there are programs to help with medications also. We talked last week about grants and things that are available to people who have disabilities. I know the Dementia Alliance has some respite care that they offer. Aging Outreach has AOS and Friends Cares, which is a grant that would help people who have dementia with either care management or caregiver services. But there are other organizations that you could tap into that might be able to help you with some of the things that you need, such as if your loved one has dementia, they also have macular degeneration. You might be able to get some help from the Macular Degeneration Society or the MS Society. There are other organizations that you can reach out to who can help you make sure that you're getting all of those grants and that you're aware of all the things that you might qualify for your loved one. I guess the Division of the Blind is another one. They offer education and resources. There are lots of options for hearing aids for older adults who may not be able to afford them financially. They are also experts in what is the best hearing aid for somebody who has dementia, what kind of dementia that is. So that's always helpful. We love to talk about driving when we talk about dementia. We have some really great local, or local to North Carolina, I should say, driving evaluators. There's one that will actually come to your house and let you drive his car, and you drive in the area that you're used to driving in, and he does an evaluation for you. You can go into a clinic somewhere and they will do a very comprehensive driving evaluation where they determine, they take into consideration your medical conditions, your cognitive issues, and your physical issues. They test you more on a computer and writing than they do actually in the car. So sometimes I'll recommend that you do both of those. And then there are some that will do all of that at one setting. So we talk a lot about driving. AARP has a really good booklet on driving and having the conversation with your loved one if you have concerns. We often run into doctors who don't want to make the call, but the loved one is saying he shouldn't drive anymore. You can reach out directly to the Department of Motor Vehicles in Raleigh, or in your state, wherever you are, and discuss with them your concerns and write a letter. The letter can be anonymous. You can request that they have an actual evaluation so that you know that they're safe behind the wheel of the car. I think it's important to remember that every older adult should have an emergency preparedness plan. We talk about with our clients, like, what is your plan should we have a tornado or a flood or a hurricane? Those are kind of the weather things that might happen around here, but where you live, it might be snow, it might be ice, whatever the weather, whatever the weather is where you are, you might want to discuss and talk to them about what happens should that happen and you no longer have a home. Like, what do you want to do? So we call that your emergency preparedness plan. There are a lot of resources online that you can get on and just Google and say, emergency preparedness plan for older adults, and it'll give you kind of a checkoff list of what you should do and what your plan should be and some recommendations. I recommend that in your area, you contact some of the places where you would be safe to go, whether it's a church, an armory, wherever the shelters might be. Find out can you take your dog there? Can you can you take your suitcase? What can you bring with you? So be sure that that you also have been doing some research on an emergency preparedness plan. I'd also like to mention before I move on about the Dementia Alliance's YouTube channel. So we talk about internet searches and looking and learning and education. So be sure that you take some time and go onto that Dementia Alliance YouTube channel and listen and watch and learn from the best. So I'm going to get back to the slides now. All those things will be added to the slides, but these are what about in-home things that you can have in your house that helps you. Necklaces and bracelets that have falls. We all remember the "I've fallen and I can't get up" commercials. Thankfully, we've progressed past just having that as an option. So we're going to talk a little bit about what those devices can be. Here's some recommendations.
Jennifer,
yes,
this is Lisa. I'm so sorry. Before you go on, I just had a couple of things. So George is with us again today, and we learned last week that he's a volunteer for Meals on Wheels.
Oh, great.
And so he just wanted everybody to know that Meals on Wheels is not restricted to financial need. It's more about the person being homebound or not. And he said if people can, they're asked to pay $3.75 in his area per meal. But if they can't, I'm assuming they don't have to, but right. So it's not necessarily financially based. And then we had a couple of questions about driving programs that you brought up.
Sure.
So one was the driving program where they come to your house and evaluate. Do you know if that's Moore County specific? Or
no, the guy that we always refer to, his name's Paul Riley. I'll say his name here. He is actually in the Raleigh area, and he will drive anywhere in North Carolina to meet you.
Okay, that's great. So that's all over the state. Wow. And you said Paul Riley?
Correct.
Okay.
And we can provide you guys his contact information as well.
Okay, wonderful. I think he's going to get quite a few phone calls after today.
Yeah, that's a good one to have. He's a good contact to have. The only downside, in my opinion, to him is that you have to drive his car, so you may not be, or your loved one may not be as comfortable driving someone else's car. But when we get his reports back, they're very comprehensive on, safety concerns, cognitive concerns. Are you following too closely? Do you use your turn signals? I mean, there are all kinds of things that he takes into account. So it's a really detailed report of what his findings were. And you can even send that report to Raleigh to kind of help your case, if you will.
That's great. George chimed in that he did that with his wife as
Oh,
well. And he said they're very thorough, and now he's awaiting a decision from the DMV. So
right.
just like you said, he shared that with the DMV. All right, we're going to let you go on with the emergency alert devices. Thank
Okay.
you.
Sure, no problem. So here are some of the companies that we have used and have had success with: the Bay Alarm Medical, Medical Guardian, LifePhone, and Philips Lifeline. Here's kind of a picture of each one. They are all sort of fallen and can't get up options, but they're very simple. The Bay Medical I really like because you can have 4 different places in your house where you can have a button put on your wall where you can also hit it. So let's say you forgot your necklace or your watch. You have other options, these wall options. Oops, let me go back. Philips Lifeline is probably my favorite company to work with. They have all of their equipment. We have one here locally that's called First Response. It works inside the house and just a very small area outside of the house. But Philips Lifeline is one of the few that actually has a GPS system inside of it. So you can wear your necklace to the grocery store, to your doctor's appointments, to church, wherever, and when you push that button, they will find you wherever you are. So that's another really good option for you. Medical Guardian is another very reputable company that we use a lot. LifePhone is a more basic, and each one of these has their own prices and options and plans. So I encourage you to sort of do your own research to see what works best for you. Watches, we've had some really great options. I don't know if Jackie's on today, but she told me about this watch here called TheraWatch. She uses that for her husband, and she would be fine with me sharing that with you guys. It is a really great watch. What it does is it has a GPS, it hooks up to her phone, and she can call her husband on his watch. So it's sort of like a two-way radio. So he may not have the capability to answer the phone or say hello or really know what's going on, but she can automatically tap into his watch and talk to him. So it comes across kind of like a walkie-talkie, if you will. But inside that watch, it has a GPS, so she can set a range on her phone to where he's safe to be. And when he steps out of that zone, they contact her on her phone to say he's out of his zone. So I have made recommendations. I have tons of other clients who have signed up for that program through that watch. It's you buy the watch and then you pay for it by the month, just like you would a cell phone. But I've had tons of clients sign up, and that watch has saved a couple lives, in my opinion. So it's a really good one. I will tell you that there is a website called alzstore.com, and that website has a lot of really amazing electronics. That she found this watch on that store, but she contacted the company directly to purchase it, and it saved her quite a bit of money. So if you want to go on alzstore.com and find the products that you're looking for before you pay that price, you might want to do like she did and contact the actual company that makes the product to see if you can get it any cheaper. Of course, a lot of people have smartwatches now, but the Apple Watch does have fall detection on it now. So you can call for an emergency, you can reply, you can set that at a very basic level for somebody that has dementia to be able to use. I personally feel like the Apple Watch is better for the well spouse, because they're probably likely be able to figure out all the technology that's involved, the smart technology that's involved in that versus the TheraWatch. I find that the person that has dementia does a better job with the TheraWatch. Jennifer Garner talked about these, and we talked about some of them, so I'll do this really briefly. But you want to make sure that your legal documents are somewhere where they can be accessible. Who should you contact for a power of attorney? What is a DNR? The most document the living will. You want to decide, you want to make sure that you know who you want acting on your behalf should you no longer be able to do so for yourself. And it just helps ease the burden for your loved ones to make sure that you have everything together. I personally like the idea of you taking the documents that we went over today, the 5 wishes, the planning guide, your living will, your power of attorney, and putting them in a fireproof lockbox in your house. And not only you know where the key is, but also whoever you want helping you would know where the key is to that, so that in an emergency they could access your documents. We hear a lot about, let's put it in a safe deposit box, but if it's a Saturday, it's kind of hard to get into your safe deposit box. So make sure that you have copies of the documents that you need in your house. Power of attorney, Jennifer's going to talk more about those things. Do not resuscitate order. Again, Jennifer will probably cover some of this, but I will talk about this too, is from my perspective. It's a yellow piece of paper. It has a stop sign on it. It basically tells your health professionals not to perform CPR on you should they find you with no pulse and no heartbeat. I'm sorry, no pulse and you're not breathing. It has to have a physician signature on it. The old ones had an expiration date on them, but now I think that once it's signed, it's good. That's another thing you want to have on your refrigerator, because emergency professionals are trained to look for that document. If they cannot find that document, they're responsible to perform that CPR on you. So if you do not want that, you want to make sure you actually have that yellow stop sign paper and it's visible to the professionals that may come into your house. The most document is called the medical orders or scope of treatment. And it's sort of a comprehensive thing. It has your DNR on there, but it also has some of your living will request on there as well. You complete that with your physician, and you can review it and update it as your needs change, but it really helps open up that line of communication between you and your doctors or you and the hospital. So I would make sure that you have the DNR, the most, and the living will on file at your hospital and with your doctor. The living will, it communicates your wishes for what you want at the end of life. This 5 wishes document can help with that. It has no power once you're not here anymore, so it's different than the will. So when we ask for the copies of power of attorney documents and the living will, will often be given the power of attorney documents and a will, but we don't work with the will very often. We want to know while you're still here what you want done so that we can make sure your wishes are being met. You can complete that through hiring a lawyer like Jennifer, but it should include information like, are you a DNR? Are you an organ donor? What specific instructions you want followed, and also who you want making those decisions for you should you be unable to make those decisions for yourself. And that's it. It's a lot of information to take in one morning, but I want to open the floor up for questions. And before we close today, I want to just find out from you guys about my question last week about the diagnosis. So Lisa, do you want to open the floor to questions?
Sure. So is there a particular agency out there that offers services on interpreting what documents your loved one already has? If you don't know, is it best to go to an elder law attorney who can investigate what's already in place? or do you have other suggestions?
Yeah, no, I always recommend that you go to the elder law attorney. I mean, that's going to be where you can find out what what your loved one has. Is it on file somewhere? And that's just another reason why it's so important to have these conversations early, so that you don't run into the person who's confused trying to explain to you where things are and what they want. But yes, the elder law attorney is a good place to start.
Okay. And so we know that the doctor needs to sign the DNR form, the do not resuscitate form. Do you suggest that we have more than one copy of those? Because you have to have an original copy for everyone to see. And
Yes, so
is there anywhere else to keep those besides your fireproof box?
well, you want that DNR to be on the refrigerator, because should you have an emergency, or if you're bed bound, you want it to be behind the bed board, the headboard of your bed, so that when EMS comes in, they can see those documents, because that's where they're trained to look for them. If it's in a locked box and the person that has the key can't get the key or doesn't know where it is at the time, it does no good. They would have to perform the CPR, because they have to be able to see that document. So I would recommend that you have more than one. You can put that DNR, you can have an extra copy in your fireproof lockbox, so that you have everything in one spot, you know where everything is. But you definitely want to have one visible in the home and one with your doctor.
And that extra copy would actually be an extra original.
Yes, it does have to be an original.
Okay. All right. Just a comment, Billy says that she hasn't been able to find a fireproof box that's 8.5 by 11. And I imagine they're bigger than that, because they're made for things other than just papers too.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I'm looking through other questions. Does anybody else have any other questions for Jennifer? Jennifer, what were you going to say about what you talked about last week?
Well, we talked last week, right at the end of our session, about how important it is to have the proper diagnosis. And I just wanted to make sure that nobody had any questions for me about what steps they need to take to get that proper diagnosis.
Okay, Susan, did you have a comment or a question? I guess not. She's not unmuting. Okay. Does anybody else have any questions about getting a diagnosis, what the steps are with that? Any other emergency information, steps to have at home? I know you talked a little bit about safety, and I know there's a lot of checklists out there for home safety. Are there any particular things to keep in mind that stand out to you as things maybe that people wouldn't normally consider about home safety?
Yeah, we want to talk about lighting. You know, is there proper lighting in the house? Of course, removing the throw rugs. We know that throw rugs are the #1 cause of falls in older adults. Making sure that the hot water heater is being checked regularly, so that you're not exposing somebody who has dementia to getting burned. Making sure there's a fire extinguisher in the house, smoke detectors are being checked regularly. And then, you know, talking to a professional about what modifications you might need in the house.
Great. And I always like to talk to people about gun safety too. It's
Oh,
something
yeah.
we don't think about usually, but if there's guns in the house, we need to be really careful.
Yeah, make sure they're locked up or not in there at all.
Yeah. So we had some questions about getting a diagnosis. So first of all, can you tell us why getting a correct diagnosis is so important?
Sure. So we often hear that your loved one has dementia, and dementia is really just an umbrella term. It's a group of symptoms, but those symptoms can be a multitude of different things causing those symptoms. There are reversible types of dementia, such as depression, medication interactions, infections, impaction, pain. There are a lot of things that can be causing those symptoms that we say are dementia, the memory loss, the confusion, the lack of concentration. Those types of things can be caused by things that can be cured. And then there are even more things that are irreversible: the Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, vascular, Jakob Crutchfield, alcohol-related dementia. I mean, there are so many, I couldn't do them all right now, but and every single one of those diagnoses that you would find if you're doing the proper type of workup would be treated differently. So what we often see is that we meet a new client, they've been diagnosed with dementia without a good comprehensive workup, and we don't know where that dementia is coming from. We've frequently figured that dementia has improved with, med changes, proper care, nutrition, right medication for depression, and that person improves tremendously. Whereas you're not going to treat somebody who has Alzheimer's or frontotemporal dementia or vascular dementia or alcohol-related dementia. You're not going to treat them the same. With medications won't be the same. Their prognosis isn't going to be the same. Their behaviors aren't going to be the same. So there's going to be a whole different, each diagnosis has a concern and a treatment plan, in my opinion. So it's really important that you get that full workup where you know what the diagnosis is so that we can properly guide you in the right direction.
So when you talk about getting a full workup, what kind of things do we need to make sure are included in that? What does that mean exactly?
So we talk about the first thing that you want to do is see your primary care doctor and do some blood work. Let them review the medications that you're on from all of your doctors, because they don't always communicate with each other like they should. So your primary care doctor may not even be aware of some of the meds that you're taking. You want to make sure that you're talking to them about things that could be that you're in pain, that you're having frequent urination. So maybe you have a urinary tract infection. So you want to rule out some of those basic things with an appointment with a primary care doctor. And then you want to see a neurologist, and usually the neurologist is going to do a scan of your brain, and in that scan they might be able to determine, have you had a stroke? Do you have a brain tumor? Do you have some atrophy? What's going on in your brain? They might be able to see a better picture of that. Then you want to see a psychiatrist. If you feel like that depression could be part, or a mental health issue could be part of the issue, to get a good diagnosis of what that mental health issue might be. And then the last thing you want to do is do that neuropsychological workup. So you want to take what you've gotten from your primary care doctor, your neurologist, and your psychologist, and meet with a neuropsychologist and have the actual testing done. And then they can, at that point, I feel that you can get the best diagnosis. And then neuropsychology is where they guide you. And here's what they do a lot of what we do as care managers. Here's what our findings are, and here's what our recommendations are. So I always find that extremely helpful for, these are the meds that might work with this diagnosis. This is the treatment plan. This is your prognosis, that type of thing. So that's sort of where that workup comes into importance, in my opinion.
Wow, there's a lot to it, isn't there?
There is. But it's so important. I mean, I can't tell you how many times in my career I've had the wrong diagnosis, and just getting on the right meds has helped, or realizing that somebody with frontotemporal dementia and somebody with Parkinson's dementia, they're not going to progress the same. I'm going to expect different things from them, but had I not had the right diagnosis, then I wouldn't know how to treat them or how to help the family get through their problems.
So George has shared with us that there's usually a long wait to get in for a lot of these specialists.
Mm-hmm.
Any recommendations on how to get seen? Do you just go ahead and get on the list? What do you do to get that appointment?
Well, I think getting it at the right place is what's most important, but it's so important to, as as soon as you start seeing these signs and symptoms of dementia, that you don't wait, that you don't say, oh, well, they're stressed, or oh, they're just older, that you go in and talk to your doctor about those concerns. And then the best thing I can say is be your own advocate, or hire somebody that can, get the job done for you. Primary care doctors don't always love referring to neurologists or psychiatrists or neuropsychologists. They kind of feel like they can manage it on their own a lot of times. So saying that it's important to you that you do get in to see these specialists, and go ahead and ask for those referrals after that first appointment.
Great, thank you.
Sure.
Susan shared that there's an Alzheimer's disease, a guide to understanding booklet on the AOS website. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, it talks about a lot of things that we're talking about right now, about getting that proper diagnosis, what it means, how each diagnosis is different, how the prognosis could be different, medications that might be available. And again, it's just stressing the importance of making sure you're getting that right diagnosis and why. But it's got a lot of details in it, and it is on our website. You guys are welcome to access that at any time.
Sounds like you have a lot of great resources on the website we all need to check out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, anybody else have any questions for Jen? Okay, Jennifer, any closing thoughts or anything you want to leave
Yeah,
us with?
I want to say thank you all for being here. I hope that you have learned something of value this week, last week, and today, and I know you will again tomorrow. And just know that there are people here for you. There are other people going through the same things. Stress the importance of getting into a good support group. And hopefully the knowledge that I provided for you today will help you get that plan in place that you need.
Thank you so much, Jennifer, for sharing your expertise. I know it's hard to take everything you've learned over the years and put it into a PowerPoint presentation, but you've given us so much information. I look forward to reading the slides more thoroughly, and I know that people that joined us in other states will be able to find that information in their states as well.
Yes.
So thank you so much for that.
Thank
We
you,
look
guys.
forward to seeing all of our attendees on Thursday again at 10 o'clock with Jennifer Garner, where we're going to talk about payment resources, and specifically, how do I pay for medical care? In the meantime, Susan has just shared your website information and an email where we can reach you, Jennifer. And we just thank you so much for what you're doing for people living with dementia and for their caregivers.
Thank
It's a
you.
lot, and we appreciate it. All right.
Thanks for
Thank
being
you,
here, guys.
everybody.
Bye.
Thanks so much. Everybody have a great day. We appreciate your being here.